Let's talk some support.
Some support. We can support ourselves.
We're dwelling.
Right,
we're breaking our own code here. We're dwelling.
The code. Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about Origin. I feel like we should talk about Origin. And the first thing about Origin that I will talk about is the Geese, the flagship product. Geese. All made in America, by the way. Rash guards as well. This is for jiu-jitsu, by the way, specifically, but not limited to. So, well, the Geese are kind of limited to, unless you want to make a dragon weave suit. Like, you're the one who recommended this, by the way.
You could do judo in a.
Yeah. I guess technically you could do karate too if you want. Technically, I mean, but they're made for jiu-jitsu. The rash guards made for jiu-jitsu. But you can use them for like cycling and bodyboarding and whatnot.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to protect yourself from rashes. Not germ rashes. Like rashes. Actually, it does have antimicrobial stuff in it too.
That's true.
So it is kind of protected from that. Anyway, originmain.com. That's where you can get this stuff. All made in America. And also joggers. Coming from the connoisseur of comfort himself. That's me.
People are starting to comment about that.
Yes.
You're now becoming known.
Yeah.
Maybe you could parlay that into like a whole thing.
Yeah, like a whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
you could just have your own thing going on.
No,
testing things for comfort levels.
Yeah. I'll establish a standard of comfort. It'll be called the connoisseur of comfort scale. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know how like in temperature there's like Kelvin.
Yeah.
Celsius, Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
I'll be that for comfort.
The echo scale.
Yeah.
Echo scale of comfort. What would the highest level of comfort be? Would it just be 1 to 10?
It'd be
you'd
OJ.
need more. What?
OJ would be the highest.
What's that mean?
Ranking. OJ. Origin joggers.
Oh, dang.
Like,
look at that. Nicely done.
Bro, I'm over here. I'm like, Pete, for some reason, he's the kind of guy I like to just call. You know how you'll text someone. You know, you're like,
really.
Hey, I want to. Well, you don't really, but nowadays we like to text people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, but I don't know, for some reason I like to call Pete. So I'll call him and I'll be like, hey, when's the shorts coming out? Not for we can, because I want to wear them, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I'm about to call him and be like, hey, we need more colors of joggers or whatever. But here's the thing, do we? I need more colors. So I can't just be running Pete around his factory making new colors just for me personally. Or maybe I can. I don't know. But it would help. But yeah, they're real good joggers, and T-shirts and hoodies and whatnot. Good stuff.
Made in America.
Made in America.
Made in America.
Yeah.
Which is good on a whole bunch of different levels. Also, we got a bunch of supplements. We got Joint Warfare. We got krill oil. We got Discipline, which is good to drink before you get after it, mentally or physically. And also, we got Molk.
Yeah. But back to Joint Warfare. Okay. So let me get... I know you're wondering how my arm is doing. I know, bro. I'll let you know. So I went to Oregon, the Oregon coast, last week. 1 week. Forgot the Joint Warfare.
Oh.
I just had surgery on my bicep about 6 weeks ago. And, I
would have FedExed you some, bro.
I know. But, and thank you. But, I didn't
How
think
long
about
did it take before you noticed it? Because I'm guessing the moral of the story is this didn't work out good.
Yeah, and here's the thing. My surgeon is good. He was good. He did a good job on my arm. Reattached my bicep tendon to my bone. Drilled a hole in the bone. Boom, stick it through, sew it up. Good, all done, right? So I take Joint Warfare. The thing feels good. Like I'm way ahead of schedule, surprisingly, because I had it done on my other arm 9 years ago, blah, blah, blah. So it's all good. I'm moving around. I'm doing like push-ups, doing stuff that no way I could have done with my other arm last time. So I go to Oregon coast. Forget the Joint Warfare. I attribute it to the Joint Warfare, how far ahead I am. So I forget the Joint Warfare. I'm in the Oregon coast. I would say about 2 days. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. It didn't start like hurting or going backwards, nothing like that. But it was just this weird stiffness that sort of just occurred. Like I couldn't straighten it out right away when I wake up. Yeah. I can't I kind of got to work it out. And it slowly just started to just stiffen up a little more. And here's the thing. I was way less active on it too. Because when I do like push-ups and stuff where I'm using my elbow a lot, it'd be kind of stiff that night, then the next day you loosen it up and then it's stronger. It's just one of those things like muscles, but it's my joint. So I wasn't doing that much activity. and it was just general stiffness. Yeah, bro. I was like, well, I don't want to say it felt inflamed, but it felt like, you know how like you sprain your thumb or something like that, and it's like swollen, and it's like just jammed up.
Yeah.
You can use it, but anyway, it kind of felt like that.
Functional but not optimal.
Functional but not optimal. And then I come back 2 days back on the joint warfare. Boom, back in the game. That's full on back in the game.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
joint
for real.
warfare, hell of a thing, man.
Good stuff.
Glucosamine, chondroitin, curcumin, good for your brain too, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like discipline.
Yeah.
Also, Mulk, as you were saying.
Yeah.
What up with Mulk?
First of all, Mulk's awesome. Second of all, what is Mulk? It's Mulk. Everyone knows that now. I think that's pretty much going to be the new thing.
Yep.
And we have peanut butter, chocolate will be coming out. I want to say within a week. I want to say within a week.
You're all like,
yeah.
We
Dave
have
Burke
peanut butter and We have peanut butter and chocolate coming in about a week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No. It's not even a maybe. It's
straight up.
Yeah,
1 week, counting down the days. Okay, that's good. So Mulk protein. How many grams protein in Mulk? Do you know?
22 per scoop.
So, and I heard this. I recently read. Actually, I didn't read it. I saw it on a YouTube video. I know that sounds like YouTube video, but this one had credibility. So
based on what?
Hey. So you but a good amount of protein is
1 gram per.
They thought it was like 1.5 if you're trying to build muscle and all this stuff.
Oh,
but
it's changed.
It's about, it's way less.
According to this YouTube video.
According to this, it's like 0.7 or something like this. 0.77. I don't know.
I need more than that.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
going to tell you right now.
All right, well, there you go, Mulk. Get it. And it tastes good. Real good, by the way.
It's dessert.
Yeah. Anyway.
Is Mulk classified as a dessert? That's the question.
Yes. To me, currently it is.
Currently, that's how I classify it too.
It would have to be proven out.
I literally eat my dinner and then I'm all excited to have Mulk.
Then
for dessert.
It is a dessert.
And I went on a trip and I haven't figured out how to travel with Mulk yet, which is a real bummer. Yeah. But it's scoop. You can't bring 6 scoops and I'm real light traveler.
Yeah.
And so now when I go somewhere and I get whatever, I'll get a good meal. I'll get a legit meal, but I want a dessert.
Yeah.
I want Mulk.
This is how you do it. You put it in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah. Puff.
Not in your carry-on, by the way. Well,
then you got to bring a shaker.
Yeah.
Right? Sure. There's just multiple problems that I have. I've got to figure it out. I'll figure out a system.
We'll figure it out.
One thing I can say is when I have always, if I drank protein shakes in the past, I would have to use a big shaker.
Yeah.
And put probably 16 ounces of milk and then a scoop, whatever. One thing that's good about Mulk, and because that's the only way you feel satisfied. With Mulk, you can use one of the small, little shakers. So this is a possibility. See, I'm creating ideas right now.
Sure.
I can bring one of the small shakers, bring a little bit of Mulk in it, and then just hit it up. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a big, giant shaker, because you don't need to drink that much Mulk to feel like
you got enough dessert.
Like you got enough dessert.
All good. Anyway, back to the deal. Immersion camp.
Yep.
When
Immersion
is
camp's coming.
August 26th.
August 26th through September 2nd. This is weird, but it looks like we might actually sell out. Like at a certain point.
How do you sell out of the camp?
We didn't think we'd be, but so if you want to come, get registered, because we're probably going to end up, because you can only, we already bought more mats, double the mats that we had to muster.
Dang.
Yeah, it's a lot of mats, but still,
dang,
I mean, there's still a limit.
Yeah.
So if you want to come to that, come. I'll be there. Echo will be there. Dave Burke will be there. Leif Babin will be there. JP's on the fence. Dean Lister.
Yeah.
Dean Listchi will be there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good. Where, when you learn stuff you're gonna learn specific things from specific people and all that stuff. But don't look at it like this thing where you're gonna go and you're just gonna learn what they have to teach you. They're gonna teach you spider guard or something like this.
There's like 15 or 20 black belts there.
Yes. So on top of that,
if you made it your goal, if you went and you went to each one of those 15 black belts and said, "Show me your best move."
Yeah.
If you did that and you walked away, that would be
pretty solid.
That would be solid.
Yeah.
But you couldn't. This isn't a hey, show me your move, and you spend 3 minutes. No, I'm talking if you spent like an hour, maybe even an hour and a half, going over what's your best move. Like, I bet I could teach certain moves for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And just show every little detail. If you came to the immersion camp and that's what you did, you'd be rocking out of there solid.
And it'd be rough if everyone did that, because you know,
it'd be hard. Yeah, I don't think you could logistically do it.
But I will say this, that on top of what all the instructors there, and not to mention just other experienced people, what they have to offer and teach you, you can come and be like, hey, my rear naked choke needs work.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is how I do it. Hey, Jocko, come here. This is how I do it. This is all day, by the way. You have this opportunity. This is how I do it, and show.
Well, that's one thing that you could do, because you can't just literally train the entire time, but you can get shown moves and you can work moves.
Oh yeah.
You can't just train, because you'll die.
Well, yes, you'll die for sure. But the point is there though, where you can come to immersion camp, right? And it's good again to learn from everything that everyone has to teach. But you can go in with specific like questions with your game, where you're still like, oh,
for sure.
How am I going to get better? Of course, my jiu is going to get better in general. That's good, of course.
No.
But if it's like, wait, will my mount
if you want your mount escape to get better,
exactly,
and that's what you
right.
focus on,
and
then you can ask. Actually, well, I'll give you this advice. If you have trouble being mounted and escaping the mount, a good person to ask about that is actually Echo Charles. You have a very good mount escape.
Oh yes, very teachable too.
That's one of your best moves, is the mount escape.
Yeah.
I will say that right now, authoritatively.
Right on.
Got a good mount escape.
Thanks, bro. Also, shifting gears. So yeah, anyway, immersion camp August 26th to September 2nd.
OriginMaine.com for all that crap that we just talked about.
Yeah, OriginMaine.com. Exactly right. Maine like the state. MAINE.
Yeah.
OriginMaine.com. Also, if you want to get these cool shirts that say discipline equals freedom, Jocko has a store. It's called Jocko Store. So go to jockostore.com. Anyway, that's where you can get the shirts that say discipline equals freedom. Get after it. Anyway, if you want to represent with Jocko gear, it's more the philosophy. It's not Jocko gear. It doesn't really have your face on it or nothing. Oh, wait. Yes, it does have your face on it. And it says good. One of them. Maybe one, two. I don't know. Anyway, go there, jockostore.com. If you like something, get something you want to represent in your town. Also, rash guards on there. Hoodies on there.
T-shirts, rash guards, truckers' hats. You like the flex fit.
Flex fit, I like
you don't even wear hats.
I don't wear hats.
Which is weird because you're bald.
Yeah. My head got to get a tan.
Yeah.
But actually, I went in phases, not to go too deep.
You said you were going to get me much more of these truckers' hats.
Yeah.
And you did not.
Yeah. Wait, which one? Discipline equals freedom?
Yeah, or Defcore.
Defcore, yeah. They're on the way. They're being embroidered right now.
Okay.
Actually, I added like a bonus color of the.
I don't support bonus colors.
A bonus color? No, but it's like a khaki, like a brown, like a tan. It's pretty dope.
Echo Charles going tactical. All right. Cool.
Anyway, jockostore.com. A lot of good stuff. Jiu-jitsu stuff on there. Women's stuff on there. Hats and beanies, whatnot. Some posters on there too, by the way.
Oh,
you
posters.
didn't even know about that.
You told me about it today.
Yeah, because a lot of people, and I mean for real, a lot of people, like a lot of people.
Is that like 7? What are the posters of?
Discipline equals freedom and the good poster. Those are the ones that people would hit me up often, very often. Be like, hey, my gym, I want a poster. I want a poster for my room. I want a poster for my office. 24 by 36 posters. There's 2 posters on there. I'll make other ones, but yeah, got some posters on there. So boom, represent in your gym, in your office, in your home. I got one in my home first thing when you walk in. It's interesting.
A poster of our podcast?
The good poster.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so your face is kind of sort of there, representing in my house. Thanks, Jocko, by the way. Also, good way to support the podcast is to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. Interesting how there's so many of them out there now.
There's a lot of podcasts.
No, platforms, sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of podcasts and there's a lot of podcast platforms.
Yes.
It's the new media.
It's the new media.
It's the new media.
It's voice, as they say.
Yeah, it is voice. It is voice. Also, in addition to this podcast, which is called the Jocko Podcast, there's also the Warrior Kid Podcast, which is for kids, but I promise you can get a lot out of it as an adult too. Cool thing I've been doing on that. I've done it twice. I'm going to do it more. But so it's questions for Uncle Jake is the basic premise of it. But now I have stories from Uncle Jake. And the stories from Uncle Jake are actually from Uncle Jake's childhood.
Right.
And they kind of teach a lesson to people.
Yeah.
So that's podcast number 14 and 15 are the first two that I've started doing stories from Uncle Jake. So I think people will like those.
Yeah. They're a little bit of, yeah, they're good. So there's kind of like character development sprinkled in there with the lesson. To me, the lesson, well, I don't know, maybe this is intentional, but the lesson is the primary thing.
Of course.
And it's deep, same, very consistent with the whole Uncle Jake way, simple lesson.
The idea is I'm explaining how Uncle Jake got his values from experiences that he went through as a child.
Yeah.
And the stories are 5 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
They're pretty short stories, but they're cool.
Yeah.
And they're enjoyable. So Warrior Kid Podcast, you can check that one out. It's good. And if your kids have questions for Uncle Jake, just hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Send them to Twitter and I'll capture them.
Yep. Good one. Also, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do have a YouTube channel if you're interested in the video version of this podcast.
Or if you want to see Echo's editing skills.
Sure.
Some people say you went over the top.
Sure. I'll go over the top sometimes.
So there's a video called Warpath. It's probably the most controversial video from my perspective because it was originally made with Christmas music, which I don't like Christmas music. And Echo made it with Christmas music, and he put a lot of time and effort into it.
On Christmas, by the way.
So if we want to talk leadership here, like from my perspective, I knew you've been working really hard on this thing, and then you showed it to me, and the Christmas music kicked in, which I didn't like, didn't match. But, I just had to be like, hey, man, it's great. I really appreciate it. It's a great video. So I lied to you. Is that a lie?
You didn't say great. No, you did not lie.
Okay,
you said, and I quote, interesting choice of music for this one. That's what you said.
Now, I also will say that I don't 100% trust myself. Like, I think to myself, well, Echo really liked Christmas music, so he put it in there, so that's fine. Maybe some other people will like it too, and I'm not here to like dictate what people like and don't like. I'm just here to tell you what I like and don't like.
Yes.
But then you redid the video with more appropriate music, which is good.
Sure.
But then some people said, you got crazy. You went too far with
what?
You went you had too much stuff exploding. You got too much stuff going on.
There's the same amount of explosions.
I know,
and
but I'm saying I never really paid too much attention to what people said because I couldn't even get past the music.
Gotcha.
Once I got past the music and I checked the YouTube comments, which I know, right?
Yeah,
I went there and some people, the majority of people said, amazing, right? The majority. Some people just threw it out there. Hey, take it easy, bro.
Yeah,
you can't make it. You can't. You crossed the line, right?
Yes.
You went over the line.
Yeah.
I think you were around the line.
Yeah.
I think you might have,
stepped the toe over it.
A little bit. But we have to find out where the line is, right?
Yes.
And I think you did a good job of pressing up against the line without just getting too.
Well, let me tell you the philosophy and tell me if this is a good way to approach it. So a lot of those videos. Okay, so consider the first one we did. Good, right? Is
that the first one you did?
Okay.
Good job out of the gate.
I think I might have told the story. Like there's a story behind it. But we were recording podcast. It was like number 3 or 5. One of the first initial ones. And I was like, oh, my camera was sitting over there behind over in the corner. And if you notice on Good, when it shows you can see like it's behind like a monitor and you can see the stuff. I just went and pressed. I kind of moved the camera a little bit, and I just pressed record before you said that part. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna record this just in case I'll make a video out of it or something. You're like, okay, whatever. And if you look at it, I watched it the other day. Where like Joe Rogan guys were talking about it. So I was like, oh, let me watch it, and I remember thinking, and you're like reading, and when you're looking up, like you're looking at me. And I remember you saying this stuff to me, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I'm glad I'm recording it, right? But that wasn't made. It wasn't like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna record this, and we're gonna do that. You know, it was just like, oh, I'm gonna try to make a fun video out of it. And I just put some random like graphics on there that I was just having fun doing. So these videos you do, they're kind of done out of just fun, you know. And every once in a while, hey man, you have too much fun. You grab some sound effects, you make the walls crumble, you do kind of stuff. You know, you have some fun with it. I mean, there's no. I guess there is they're thematic, I guess, right? There's some theme to it, like Warpath. Like,
yeah, it's kind of, for me, it's like, it's pretty awesome to watch. You know?
It's just fun.
And I can see where you're like, I can see where you start going down the path of like, just more is better.
Yeah. And that's
good.
really what happens. And I'll catch myself doing it, and it'll take a long ass time. And I'm like, bro, this is not even necessary. And in fact, and some people, they will bring up this point, which is a good point, where I put stuff crumbling, right? Warpath, or take Warpath, for example. I put the walls crumbling and Jocko and Dean rolling, and when they clash, like the walls come shattering down, and it's all these special effects, which is like cool when you look at, but all the special effects, the sound effects, and like all this stuff is like, is it kind of getting in the way of the message? Because the message is like, you're saying something specific, you know, so it's kind of getting in the way, you know.
True.
So I gotta watch out for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point when people say that. I'm like, dang, that's true. And because you don't know, when you're in the mix,
Most
you're like,
people
oh,
were
that
stoked,
effect
though.
was so
Most
cool.
people were stoked.
Yeah,
Right.
I guess. But I gotta watch it.
I'm
You're
stoked. Hey, there's also a Warrior Kid YouTube channel. Okay, so the reason that we separated the Warrior Kid and the Warrior Kid and the Jocko Podcast channel, blah, 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 is because we know that there's things on this podcast and on the YouTube channel, Jocko Podcast, there's stuff that's inappropriate for children to listen to or watch.
Yeah.
And so this is a way to separate them. So there's also a Warrior Kid YouTube channel that your kid can sit there and watch, and hopefully, I'm not guaranteeing because I don't know how the algorithms work that pop up the next video selections, but hopefully your kid can watch the Warrior Kid videos without getting hooked into the Unit 731 testimony about vivisection. Yeah. So watch out for that.
Yep. True story. And and that one's in color too, by the way.
Yeah.
I see Jocko in color. Uncle Jake, as it were. But yeah. Also, good way to support yourself is to get some new gear. If your workouts are boring, get some new gear from Onnit, by the way. Onnit.com/Jocko. Good place to go. Good information too about starting your kettlebell workout. Browse. And I just thought of this kid yesterday. I was in the pool with my daughter, and my wife was saying, you know how, like, okay, so you might have seen like BJ Penn do this, where he'll go in the bottom of the ocean and he'll carry a rock in there.
In Hawaii.
Yeah, that's how. So I'm like, hey, you could grab one of those kettlebells
for sure.
And my daughter, she's 5, so she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, go grab the little. It's like a pixie, or I don't know what it is, but it's like one of those legend bells.
Yeah.
It's a small one that I got for her. So she grabs it and she goes in the pool. She's like, and I say, yeah, walk to the other side, and it's like deep. She goes kind of into the deep section. So she goes and she's carrying it. She's doing the whole BJ Penn with the little kettlebell. She's 5, by the way, under the water, and we're watching it. We're like, oh, that's cute, but she starts to sort of run out of air, and she don't want to drop the kettlebell because it's like gonna slam on the bottom of the pool, and I don't know, maybe she's 5, she didn't think of that, kind of thing. So I see her trying to like swim with it, like trying to get to the top, and it's kind of deep, and I was like, oh, I started to get worried, and then she started a little bit more urgency, so I had to jump in, grab her.
Echo with the
saved. But she did, right when I got to her, she put it up on there's a little ledge on the other side of the pool there. She managed to do it just barely. So I went in there.
When my middle daughter was probably 8 years old, and we had a party at the beach for her birthday or whatever.
Sure.
And so I was dealing with, as long as I could, I was dealing with the games and the whatever. And finally I'm like, you know what? That's it. We're going to get some. So we formed the party up into 2 teams, and we're going to compete against each other in obstacle courses and sprints and all this other stuff.
Sure.
And this particular location has a river, a gentle flowing tidal river that comes out. Sure. And anyways, one of the contests I had was, okay, you got to swim across, and there's big rocks and stuff, and I go, you got to swim across the river and come back, and whoever brings back the biggest rock is the winner. So my middle daughter is tough. She's tough, and she's strong. She's a wrestler, and gymnastics and all that crap, or not crap, but all that stuff. Like
Amazing
she's
stuff.
She's a beast, and she's mentally like I don't want to use the term psycho, but like she's real determined about stuff sometimes. Yeah. So anyways, this is when she's a little kid, and so go across the river, and whoever brings back the biggest rock wins. So they all go across, and kids are grabbing rocks that are size of, let's say a softball, maybe a softball. What's in between the size of a softball and a soccer ball?
I don't know.
Something. Okay, loaf of bread. Sure. Like maybe a small loaf of bread. That's the max, right? Yeah. That any of these kids are grabbing. My daughter grabs something that's like the size of a legit watermelon, big giant rock.
A two-hand
rock. Giant rock, 4 or 5 loaves of bread, just a big giant rock. Yeah. And I'm watching her, and I'm thinking, well, she's just going to sink to the bottom, and she'll have to let it go, and she'll have to go back and get a smaller one. Maybe she can still do okay. Yeah. So she's come, and the river has weird contours on the bottom. You can walk a little while, and then it just drops super deep.
Right.
And then you just got to make it.
Yeah.
So I'm watching her, and it's hard for her to even carry it. And she gets to that deep section, just drops down, goes under. And I'm waiting for her to pop up. But she doesn't pop up, and I'm waiting for her to pop up, and she doesn't pop up, and I'm waiting for her to pop up, and she doesn't pop up, and then I see like an air bubble come up, and I'm like, oh dang. Yeah. But the air bubble has progressed, so now I'm watching the air bubbles like progress.
Yeah,
they're coming closer to the other side, and then it starts to come up, and sure enough, out she comes like a beast. She's holding the rock, and she comes up out of the water. Powered through that, and brings the rock up, drops it at my feet, and I was like, victory is yours.
Bro, that's actually pretty powerful, because bro, when you're, unless she was like, depends on her mindset. So she was probably like, I'm not gonna let this rock defeat me, I'm gonna bring it to the other side, and that's kind of the mindset. I'm not gonna drop it for that reason. I think my daughter was like, I can't drop this thing, so I'm stuck with it, kind of thing. That's what, so she started, you could tell she was a little bit going into panic mode. Yeah. So it's a whole different scenario, technically. Yeah. But that's pretty savage, though. Do you think that I should, because she's scared. She even said, later, oh, that was, scary and all this stuff. I should probably make her do it again, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Not make her do it, but maybe jump in with her.
My youngest daughter just did the big cliff jump yesterday and a long swim in the ocean, open ocean waters.
Okay.
You got to get them. And I thought she was going to be panicky.
Yeah.
Because it's a big drop and it's ocean and whatever, and there's some wave action.
Yeah.
But I said, are you good? And she said, yeah.
Did you do it too?
Yeah.
Yeah. That they usually. Unless you got traumatized by it or something like this.
Yeah.
Where, bro, it's weird. Coming from Hawaii, you jump off everything in the water. Go down.
That's right.
Yeah, you see, you know about that one. So we have this ledge, that you saw it, and it's not that high, but for a 1-year-old, it's pretty high.
It's pretty good.
But my boy and my daughter, when she was 1, 2, they just jump off. We catch them. They can't swim yet, and my son, he jumped off a few times and was all good. But then one time he went to walk, and there was this just a slight little dip. And, when you're 1, you're new to walk. He slipped, he tripped, and he fell in. I caught him, but he full on hit his side on the edge of the thing, and he's crying. He's 1 and just over 1, maybe 13, 14. Made him do it again. He didn't want to do it though. But so I didn't push him again. I just kept hey, do it. I got you. And he'd be crying or whatever. And then, my daughter would do it. I would do it. Then he finally reluctantly did it, and we cheered for him, and now he's all good.
Good to go.
He forces himself. He makes me catch him now. Jeez, he's almost 2.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, the point is you make them do it again, right?
Yeah, but you're very accurate in saying don't traumatize them.
Yeah.
Don't be like, you going right now, kid, and you huck them off. Now it's just getting worse. You're not. Yeah, it's like hey, do it. You should do it. Oh, you want to take a little break? That's okay, but you should definitely do this. It's you've already done it before.
Yeah.
You don't want to traumatize them worse.
Yeah.
That's not going to work out good.
Yeah, especially with the water, man, because it's it's 1 minute, it's all fun and games, and literally your mind can flip to like, I'm about to die.
I used to say this. So in the 90s in the SEAL teams, when there was no war going on, and whatever, you'd go out and you do training. There was times I would always tell guys, when you're working in the water, it's a real world mission.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know what a real world mission. I'd never been on one, but the fact of the matter is, when you're working with the water, it's a real world mission. Because if you screw something up, you can easily die. Yeah. Easily. Yeah, if you're not careful. 1 up, 1 down. Just going to throw that out there. If you're doing any kind of this training, any training in the water, one person stays up on the surface, the other person, and be a lifeguard. You don't do simultaneous training in the water. So just throwing that out there. There's a little safety note for everyone.
Yes.
1 up, 1 down. That's the rule.
Yes, and especially if you're carrying the kettlebells from on it or otherwise at the bottom of the pool, the bottom of the ocean, the bottom of a reservoir, bottom of any body of water.
Yep.
1 up, 1 down.
1 up, 1 down is the rule.
Nonetheless, so that's how we utilize the Pixie. I think it's called Pixie. It's one of the legend bells. Anyway, I guess that doesn't really have much to do with what on it offers, but I just thought of that because it just happened. Nonetheless, hey, it was represented in the story. Boom.
Indeed.
Good.
Indeed.
Anyway, if you want cool fitness stuff, onit.com/Jocko. A lot of good information on there. Some socks on there. I mentioned the socks like it's like this big deal, and here's the thing. It is. Onnit socks. I was at TSA the other day. I had to stun on them with my Onnit socks.
You got issues.
They were looking. They're like, those are dope socks. Anyway, onit.com/Jocko. It's a good spot.
Psychological Warfare is an album that you can get where I talk about stuff of overcoming when you have little moments of weakness. And I'm going to make another one.
Good.
I'm going to make another one. I'm plotting on it.
Good.
It looks like it's going to be called All Your Excuses Are Lies.
Yes. Good title.
Cool. You get that iTunes, Google Play, wherever MP3s are sold.
Yeah, man. Amazon.
And also Jocko White Tea. People have now seen that we have cans of Jocko White Tea. Where do you get them? You get them on Amazon if you want them. It tastes awesome. You can get the dry tea on there too, which you add water to, and then you brew it. And then either one, you're going to get an 8,000 pound deadlift. So that's cool. Yep. Do that. Yep. Got some books. Way the Warrior Kid and Mark's Mission. 2 books. Which one do you like better?
Do I like better? Yeah. I can't say, because the first one, the OG, the original one from Wimpy to Warrior, will always have. That's the one that establishes the ethos in my house anyway. Yeah. But yeah, no, I can't say. I think they're both outstanding, but it's good how you evolve the issues. Yeah. Like it's like boom, basic.
Think about issues. How many people are like, oh, you're gonna write more? Well, yeah. Well, what are you gonna write about? Think about all the issues you have as a human being, and then think about all the issues you had as a kid. Yeah, like we're gonna cover all those.
Yeah, that's like 10 books right there.
Uncle Jake's got some help for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Way of the Warrior Kid books. The one thing that's cool is people, as a parent, you're like, man, how do I get my kid to even something as stupid as cleaning your room, right? How do you get your kid to clean your room? Have them read this book. Yeah. I got pictures. I just got a picture on Twitter the other day. Kid's got a vacuum cleaner, and the dad's pumped, right? The dad's pumped. He's like, look at this. That's a real thing.
Even as okay, so kids can read the book, of course, but I read it to my daughter who was 4 at the time. 4, yeah. So I'm reading it, and it's answering a bunch of questions I have. So it's like, hey, my kid, my daughter's like, okay.
Oh, you mean parenting questions?
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, and it's just little stuff sometimes you won't even really think of. So like, okay, for example, and I mentioned this one before, but it's a huge deal that I still use it. Like it's on the front of my mind every single time. So you know how like you'll have a kid and they'll be like real good at something just kind of right away. Yeah. Maybe your kid's more athletic or something. Maybe they're bigger, taller, whatever. So they kind of win real quick, you know. So when they run into a situation where they're in an activity that actually requires practice, like a cartwheel or something like this. And so my daughter, she's big. She's an athletic little girl. Way bigger. She's like, and so she has this friend, same age. She's like a week, either older or younger, I forget. But they're the same age. And she can do a cartwheel and just fly through cartwheels, one-handed cartwheels, all this stuff. This other girl can't. She's way smaller, way whatever. So my daughter, she doesn't like that. Not the fact that the girl can, but just she can't. Yeah. So she tries to do it, and
sort
it's
of
like
leads to that she can. It kind of starts.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah. So it's very upsetting. So Uncle Jake said something in the first one that this will always stick with me. When she complains to me about it, she can't do a cartwheel and how Malia can do a cartwheel, but I can't and all this stuff. I say, and I quote, Uncle Jake, how do you expect to be good at something when you've never practiced?
Boom.
Just like the times table.
Yeah,
are you going to be good at times table when you never studied? You know, and
You're
it makes
not born
sense.
knowing how to do a cartwheel.
You're not born knowing how to do a cartwheel. Just like how, you know, our other neighbor can play the guitar. You know how much practice, you know, kind of thing. And it's crazy because just that simple line right there, like, she was 4 and she understands, you know. She's like practicing. Anyway, that's how that book is, man.
Warrior Kid books. There's 2 of them. Way of the Warrior Kid and Mark's Mission. You can get those. You can also get Discipline Equals Freedom. The Field Manual.
Yeah.
The Field Manual. How to get after it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. The audio version of that is not on Audible. It's on iTunes, Amazon Music, all that stuff. Also, Extreme Ownership. Extreme Ownership is on Audible. And I just looked. It was number 2 on Apple Audible Books, whatever that's called, Apple iBooks or something. Number 2 right now. The book's been out for almost 3 years.
What is Apple iBooks?
It's where you can get books for your
audiobooks.
Yeah, audiobooks. Yeah,
oh,
sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Speaking of books, by the way, if you want to get this one.
Oh, Unit 731 testimony.
Yeah, I'm putting it on the website.
And Unit 731, just that.
Yeah.
Oh, and the subtitle is Japan's Secret Biological Warfare in World War II.
Yeah. Dark book, but strongly, I feel strongly that's like one you kind of want to read the whole thing. Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to put them on our website, JockoPodcast.com.
You know, someone just hit me up on Twitter that he's like, hey, we had a long road trip for 4th of July. My wife, me, and my kids aged, 13, whatever, listened to 121, 122, and 123.
Yeah.
That's real significant. I don't know if I want to say it family time, but like that's a real. Compared to the other things that you could be doing in the car,
right.
That's a real good thing to do in your car. Introduce your kids to a bit of history, a bit of human nature, a bit of the darkness of the world, a bit of overcoming that darkness. That's pretty cool. These are the kind of books. Well, so that's that. But yeah, these books. You're saying these are the kind of books you kind of want to have. I think it's important to know what's going on and know what has happened in the world. As I said,
yeah,
you want to check that out.
Yeah,
hey.
But yeah, I'll put it on the website. That's the point. We have it on the page, books from the episodes, all by episode. So this one's from obviously 133.
Yep. And also you've got on the website, because Extreme Ownership, which I talked about, is the first book I wrote with my brother Leif Babin, and we wrote another book which is called The Dichotomy of Leadership. That's also on the website, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Front page, boom.
Yeah. So that's coming out September 25th. If you want to get that on the first edition.
Yeah, man.
You can go for the third edition. No
if
one
you
cares,
want.
though.
Yeah.
What's the difference between third edition and 7th edition? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's the same. What's the difference between first edition and second edition? Well, you were in the game.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the difference. If you run a race, or if you're not recognized, but let's say you run a race. First place guy, second place guy, third place guy, you all get medals. What is the medal made out of? We'll just say metal, for lack of a better term. What's the difference between the metal?
Gold?
No, it's nothing. Only the color. It's psychological.
Oh.
It's all made of the same stuff. Bad analogy.
Yeah, I don't even follow it, but that's
all right,
cool.
First edition, that's the point.
That's
Boom,
what we're talking about here. And also, if you want to bring myself, Leif Babin, JP Donnell, Dave Burke, we got Mike Sorelli, we got Flynn Cochran now on the team. If you need help with leadership in your organization, whatever kind of organization it is, you can hit us up. Echelon Front is the name of the company. We solve problems through leadership. EchelonFront.com. Get some. We have one more muster in 2018. It is in San Francisco. It's October 17th and 18th. It's going to sell out. I just got an update from Jamie today, the ops director at Echelon Front, and
sure.
She was saying that we're going to sell out a lot sooner than we thought. So if you want to come up there at extremeownership.com, the muster, I got a video to post about that too. I haven't posted it yet, but yeah, that's that. Also, on top of the muster, we have the roll call, which is for police, military, law enforcement, firefighters, first responders. It's for people in uniform. That's happening September 21st in Dallas, Texas. It's only one day, so you don't have to miss too much work. It's a lower price point, so you can afford it, or you can get your organization to pay for it a little easier. Come on down to that. It's a great program. I just finished putting together the agenda yesterday, and so come on down. Until then, if you want to kick it with us just a little bit more virtually, until we are together live, which we will be, we'll be together live at the muster in San Francisco, or at the roll call in Dallas, Texas, or at the immersion camp in Maine. We'll see you at one of those. But until then, if you do want to kick it with us, we will be on the interwebs, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Echo is at Echo Charles, and I am at Jocko Willink.